Welcome to the Lineman Lounge, hosted by Mike and Evo, calling their shots and being outlandish.
Breaking news from the Lineman Lounge. My fantasy football team just took a huge fucking hit. And that also makes it even more likely that the Raiders are going to beat the Ravens on Monday night. Le'Veon Bell is about to be your starter. Latavius Murray is going to go there as well. Jesus, fuck my ass.
Get ready for the thickest podcast in the game. Coming to you from Hangar 6, where sleeves are optional. Strap in. The show starts right now.
¿Cómo están, bitches? This is the Lineman Lounge. I'm Mike. The man to my right is Evo, and we have an awesome show for you guys today. We're going to talk more NFL preseason camps still going on. We got news in the NBA. We got news in Major League Baseball. Fights coming tomorrow night. Possible shakeup in NCAA, and we're also going to be joined in just a little bit by our friend, our guest for today's show, Jared Bates from Illegal Ham to the Face. But we're going to kind of just hop into the stuff that we love to do to start. Evo, tell me how the week has gone. We're on a Friday, so we got some schedule changes, different things going on. How's life treating you out there in Arizona? And you got any big plans for the weekend?
Yeah, man. A switch of work schedules for me. So I'm working at 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. So I am currently a little burnt out, but ready to kick it, talk about some sports and bullshit with you today. And weekend, I'm just going to be doing a little road trip for the day to Prescott, Arizona, to go to a birthday party. So lots of driving ahead of me. So that'll be fun. Other than that, I don't know. I'm probably going to be burnt out from all that.
Yeah. I'm super tired right now. I have not been sleeping very much. I have nothing but fucking time on my hands, and I have been filling it up doing activities that adults are allowed to do, but not recommended for the youth. So, I'm extremely tired right now. I'm going to make it through the day. I got to pick up the girls in about 2 hours. Well, 2.5 hours is when daycare closes. So we cannot press too far in today. We're going to have to do probably about 2 hours, assuming that we get that far, because they're going to pick them up. I might go play some poker tonight with some of the people that were at the Top Golf event. So kind of getting out into the crowd, mingling. Now it would be really nice to go take some money off some people I don't know all that well, because I don't feel bad about it at that point, especially if I don't know them yet. Take their money, and then, maybe we'll have a good time later on, and you can win some of that back. But so that's kind of my plans for the night. We got no football practice tonight. Menor has their first high school game coming up, and I think they're starting out with St. Ignatius, so that's going to be a very tough game right off the rip. But yeah, so we got Sunday is our first game, and I would be remiss not to give a shout out to the guys out there in Sierra Vista, all my old coaches, players that we had on that 10U Colts team. They got their first game on Sunday going up against Benson, so good luck to those boys as well. Football getting ready to start out there, all over the place, all over the country, and I'm fucking ecstatic that we're finally back. We're going to start playing some games here.
Very cool. It's good to get back into that time of year. I mean, we're getting football all around. We got college football kicking off here. We got NFL football going on. I didn't even know there was a game going on Thursday night.
There wasn't much of a game going on, but there was one. There was an attempt at a football game happening.
Yeah, professional football was technically being played, but it was from two teams that potentially are going to be vying for the worst in the NFL.
Record. Yeah.
But hey, I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, bring me football, inject it straight into my veins. I don't care how I get it. Like, youth football, shit, I might go watch a high school football game tonight if I don't go play poker. Like, I don't care how you give it to me. I'm all about football. So this is the best time of the year. I'm very, very excited that we are finally back into the NFL. Now, I wish the NFL and all the things happening around my Browns were a little bit more positive. They are not. We're going to get to those after a little bit, but that's not necessarily the way I want to start off the show. I hate starting off the show with negative shit. So let's hop into some things that are going on that are positive. We're going to start with Major League Baseball and the fact that the Guardians are still somehow in first place, even though by all accounts they absolutely should not be. They are on a fucking hot streak that I cannot even explain. Now, they did drop a couple games here and there, but they are still 7-3 through their last 10. But this team is so fucking good right now. They're so hot right now that they are striking out 3 times in an inning and then scoring 6 runs in the same fucking inning. For everybody out there listening, like wondering how the hell that's possible. Well, third guy struck out pass ball, able to get down the first base. So runner's not out. Technically, it is a strikeout. Goes towards a strikeout on the pitcher's records. All of that stuff still counts as a strikeout, but he is on first. Only 2 outs still remain. The Guardians go on and just proceed to pummel the fucking ball for the next, I think, 7 or 8 batters, working 6 runs in, taking the lead against Detroit, and putting a nice little stamp on that game. I don't understand how this team is continuing to outperform what all experts were projecting to not be a very good team, but they are absolutely doing it. I'm super pumped about it. I know you cannot be pumped about it, but just are your boys gonna knock this young group off? Because right now we got a massive series coming up against the White Sox, and we better beat the shit out of them. Your team or my team needs to win this AL Central. Fuck the White Sox and fuck Tony La Russa. So where are we at on this? How, is your team getting any goddamn better right now?
I mean, we have 3 wins in a row right now, so that's a nice little streak. It's a little bit different from normally our win one, lose one type situation. There's been some signs of positivity, but obviously not enough to really make a comeback here in the Central just yet. I'm still happy that they're maintaining pace, but I keep on seeing playoff predictions, and we keep on looking like the odd ones out since the White Sox have been making a bit of a surge. So I don't know. We'll see. This is the marathon. Let it keep going, and we'll see what ends up happening. I would like to see you guys sweep the Sox here. But
me too. Nice.
But that means that you guys will just get further ahead in first unless we also just continue to sweep our competition. So.
Yeah, you guys are going to need to step up your game a little bit. We got some interesting things going on in the wild card. Mariners, I was not expecting them. The Jays, I think everybody's kind of expecting them to be there. Tampa Bay as well. But the Mariners being where they are is really surprising to me. Orioles still being competitive as well. Wildly surprising. So, but joining us now, we have our third member for today's show, Jared Fatty Bates from, and I just sat there and blanked on the podcast, Illegal Ham to the Face podcast. He is a massive Cleveland fan, so let's welcome him to the show. Oh, there it is. Jared, can you hear us, my man?
I hope so. Can you hear me?
We can hear you just fine. So I know that you are a big football guy. Are you also a big baseball guy getting in on this red hot Guardians team?
Oh yeah. So our show talks all about all Cleveland sports. So we're all Cleveland sports fans from where we're at. But yeah, this Guardians team is something special right now.
It absolutely is. Now, did you see the thing I was just talking about the other night where they strike out 3 times in one inning and then go on to score 6 runs in that same fucking inning? That how wild is that? And is it possible that this team is just kind of scraping the surface of what they're going to be? Can they actually make a run?
I think, this team this year is surprising everybody because, I mean, it's so young. I mean, it's 2 years younger than any other major league team, and yet they're still winning. And I think the reason why they're still winning is because they're so young. Because when they get to the 7th inning and they're down a couple runs, they're still in their mentality. we're not out of it. We're going to come back and win. And that's what they've done. And they just keep fighting away at it.
Yeah, these young guys have not been disenfranchised by seeing, these games kind of get away from them. They're still battling every inning. I love the energy that we can see from the dugout to the guys on the base. The fucking double guns being back pumps me up. I love the excitement. Josh Naylor's a fucking wild man. I love his just absolute reckless abandon for all things, baseball holy. He does not follow the unwritten rules. He is going to get his guys pumped, and I'm all for that. I hate the old school. This is the way we've always done it, so this is the way we'll do it mentality that baseball is always kind of stuck in.
What I love about Josh Naylor is any man that headbutts his coach as he comes off the field for a walk-off. I mean, there's some crazy about him.
Yeah, and Tito is not a big, like, he's a frail man at this point. I love him, but he is getting old and up there in years. Evo, you got anything?
No, I mean, just speaking specifically on the Guardians, and this is something that we've kind of said in previous episodes and everything, we went into this baseball season not expecting a ton from the Guardians, but this sort of youth movement, the kind of grassroots feel to this team and the style of baseball that they're playing, no matter what ends up happening, obviously I know you want them to win the Central, and if that happens, I will be happy for you, even though I'm a Minnesota Twins guy. It's a success. Like, yeah, if the season ended, with you guys not winning the rest of the way, somehow it still would be a success for what you guys did up to this point, because I don't think anyone was expecting it, other than the kind of passive diehard fans that don't really ever take into account real life.
Yeah, like, you could say that you knew that this team was going to be good, but you'd be fucking lying. You would absolutely be lying if you said, I knew they were going to hit this well. I knew that they were going to play defense this well. Like, this was not expected on really any front, especially with the bats. They have the 5th best batting average in all of Major League Baseball. So there's no fucking way I was expecting that out of any of these guys. I expected Jose to do Jose things and be in competition for an AL MVP, but I was not expecting this. I think we've had 14, 15 rookies make their first appearance so far this year. Like 14. Jared said, we are the youngest team in baseball by 2 years, and they just keep, finding ways to make this shit happen. And it looks like we absolutely won the Francisco Lindor trade, because Andres Jimenez has been lights out, all-star, has accounted for more WAR, wins above replacement than Francisco Lindor did. So that is awesome, and I'm super pumped for this team.
Yeah, the one thing I take away that most people don't know is, you sit there and you look at this team, especially with Tito when he first came in here, and everybody's kind of hoping, after the Lindor trade and everything else, everybody was thinking that there was going to be a drop-off, that, we were going to have to go through a couple years of meddling around until we found out what this team actually was going to be. But with Tito, there's something magical about Tito, because since he's been a manager at Indians, the Indians have never had a losing season. Never. They have not been below 500 since Tito's been a manager there.
No, and that's one year they went 81-81, finished 500, but they have never finished under 500 under Tito.
No.
So.
And that's a huge compliment to Tito, this front office, and what they could do to keep a competitive team. At least we're not going down to the dumps like, Detroit's going, like Baltimore did for the longest time. Like, they still stay competitive, and I give them kudos for that.
Me too. All right, but so switching over from this really young team, let's talk about old baseball. And Albert Pujols is a fucking man's man. I love this guy. Hit his 690th home run in spectacular fashion with a fucking grand slam. I don't know if he's got enough juice left to get to 700, but God, I want him to get there so bad. I want him to finish with 700, fucking 700 on the dot, call it a career, go down as probably the second greatest right-handed hitter in all of Major League Baseball history, and wait your couple years and stroll right into Cooperstown. Anybody got anything on Albert Pujols? Did you guys see his 690th shot?
I didn't see it. I
didn't see
saw
either.
the highlights on ESPN, but again, I have been unable to participate in watching sports,
Yeah,
unfortunately,
your
because of
your shift has sucked ass
this
recently.
damn work shift.
Well, and that's kind of where I'm at too, because I get glimpses of everything because where I'm at too. Like this is the first day I've been off work a little bit early to, actually catch up on stuff. And by the time I wake up in the morning, go to work, I go to bed at like 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah, so massive perk for me not having a job right now is I can consume basically all the sports that I can handle in one day. So yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like money, but I'm gonna go back to school, make money doing stuff there and all that shit. So yeah, I've been able to just fucking feed sports directly into my face and into my veins. There's a reason that this is the thickest podcast in sports. It's because I'm just pumping that shit straight into me.
So
Love it.
how many games is Pujols?
Oh, we're losing Jared. Jared, can you hear us?
Yes.
All right.
Did I
There
lose
you go.
you?
You sound good now. You might have been going through a rough spot because we know you're driving right now. Go ahead and say what you said again.
How many games does Pujols have left? Is it like 30 or 40?
Let me go ahead and pull up their record real quick, and I will tell you.
Because I mean, if he can hit 700, that'd be amazing. It really would be. But I mean, it's going to be
All right.
tough.
They're at 117 games. So 162 minus 117. So he's got about 35, 45, right? Which one is it? 45 or 35?
45 sounds 30. I don't know. I don't do math.
Yeah, we're here to talk shit, not do math.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what's really refreshing is, I've heard the F bombs and the S bombs, and I am just so ecstatic right now that I just want to start cussing like a sailor.
Oh, you're more than welcome to. There, the only things you can't say or anything that would degrade minorities in any fashion. Other than that, you want to say fuck, shit, ass, balls, go right ahead.
Shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, tits, twat, and turd, I believe.
Yeah.
All
of those are fine.
I have my mom watch our show, and I'm like, I can't do it on here. Like, there's certain things I want to say, and I'm like, oh, my mom's watching.
My mother watches our show. However, my mother and I came to a realization a long time ago that I'm just gonna say whatever the fuck I want. I love you. I don't live in your house anymore. I'm gonna say whatever the fuck I want.
This is a bilingual podcast. We speak English and bad English, so it's all good.
I like it. Add
a little flair.
So he's got 45 games to get 10 more. I don't think that's enough.
No.
He's gonna have to get so hot.
Yeah, he's going to have to pop a couple off in one game.
Yeah, I don't see him being able to do that, and that really sucks because he's not coming back. He is absolutely not coming back for one more year. He's done. He's not Miguel Cabrera going to hang on till the last little ounce of talent is out of him, or he can no longer walk down to the first baseline. So,
well, yeah, just think about like what is it, a 20-year career he had, 19 or something like that. I mean, I remember him when I was in high school. It was like just started thinking back, like, wow, you're still playing baseball. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's been at it for quite a while.
Yeah, I think he's at 20 years now, which is insane. Great career. I'll be sad when he's done, but man, I want to see him get to 700 before he is. All right. So we got some comments rolling in. I'm not sure if Eric has already started drinking. I know I've already started drinking. Like I said, I don't have a job. I could basically do whatever the fuck I want.
And I'm partaking in a margarita currently to try to get my weekend started off right.
Thanks for hopping in here, Jared. Roberta Gusalini, what are our thoughts on Deshaun Watson? We're going to get there, I promise. Should be coming up very shortly. And $20 is $20. Yes, this is a special broadcast because we're not on a Saturday like we typically would be. We had to be here on a Friday. We're still working out what schedules are going to be going forward. As soon as we actually have all of that hammered down, as soon as the government tells Evo what he's doing on a consistent basis, we'll let you guys know. But this is the government we're talking about. So just be on your toes, everybody.
Expect delays.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Goose also asked if we're allowed to say degrading things about majorities. He said thongs, though. Roberta has some other things on his
he
mind.
said, can you day degrading thongs about majorities? And then he corrected and said, say and things. And 20, of course, had to pop in. Our boy, $20 is $20 is.
Gonna lay off the tequila. Yeah, so everybody's getting a little lit. We're just letting curse words fly today. We're having a good time.
He's
Jared
still
is
at
here
work.
joining us.
I'm pretty sure Goose is still at work.
Listen,
so this
I don't want to.
I don't
want to call anybody out. I don't want anybody to get in trouble. But there may or may not have been a time where their tequila showed up at a work location while people were there being paid to work, and there were no students there.
Yeah.
I don't know that happened for sure. I'm just saying that I maybe have heard stories.
And realistically, Goose wouldn't be the one participating. He just always has a stroke or an inability to speak common English.
Brain.
That's
I love
fine.
it. I wish I could get on your guys' level right now because I gotta go here. I gotta go pick up my kids. I got a parent-teacher conference. When did you start doing parent-teacher conferences?
Start drinking right now. Why are you not drinking before the parent-teacher conference?
I might have to.
Now, Jared, did you ever go to college?
Yes.
All right. I don't know if this was a thing where you went to college. I don't know if it was for you, Mike. But for me in college, we would take the Coke can or the Sprite can, and we would cut the top off, slice it down the side, and use it as a sleeve to put over top of our Busch Lights and bring them into class.
That's nice.
Now that's the perfect opportunity for you to be bringing in some beers as the parent teacher conference, because that does not sound fun at all.
I poured whiskey in a Coke bottle. I just poured whiskey in a Coke bottle.
Normally, I just bring my flask and say screw it.
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, hey, if we got to convince you to start drinking and you got the flask ready, let's do that.
Yeah, just
I'm driving right now, so no. We can't do it right now.
Don't do it now. Don't do it now. Wait until we get ready for the parent-teacher conference. The whole motif of listen, we're here to fuck shit up. All right.
I can't
walk in there, arm in arm with your kid, ready to go.
All right, boys. There's your teachers. All right, we're leaving.
All right. Oh God! Thank God I only got one kid, and I am not doing parent-teacher conferences. Like I'm not responsible enough to go to those things.
Well, we got twins, and we have to separate our twins, so they have to have different classes because they can't. Because if they get together, it's like a WWE match, and the teacher can't pull them apart.
Understood. And $20 is $20. One of our buddies who does some video game stuff on Twitch is telling you just get in the flask. All right, get in the flask. That
is a power move.
The great thing is I can just throw the keys at the wife, say, "Honey, you're driving tonight."
Yeah,
and then she'd be like, "Why?" And then I'll just start drinking right in front of her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like trust me, the teacher starts saying some things you maybe don't like. Pull out the flask. I bet you that conversation changed very quickly.
I really don't pay attention to him anyways, to be honest. I just sit there and nod my head like I'm the only thing going through my head at that point in time is like, how many yards Chubb's going to get this year? And then just kind of zone them out.
Especially because he's not going to have Kareem Hunt to contend with. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. All right, so we're going to move on. We're done with baseball. Parent-teacher conferences, love them and all, but I'm done talking about them. We're going to hop over to the NBA and the fucking massive contract that LeBron is now getting. 2-year, $97.1 million deal to keep him with the Lakers. I'm surprised that this deal got done. I did not think that he was going to re-sign with the Lakers. I did not think that if he did, it would be for this astronomical amount of money. One thing that has hurt the Lakers recently is fucking cap. They cannot bring other guys in to work with LeBron and AD. AD is constantly hurt. This puts the Lakers in a more cap-strapped situation. I don't think this is going to work, but I want to get your guys' take. LeBron staying in LA, good move for LeBron. Basketball-wise, good move for LeBron. Business-wise, why is he staying? Because it doesn't appear that like this is going to work out unless they go to a goddamn COVID bubble again.
Look, for me, he's been playing since 2003. He's been at it for a while. He probably is just wanting to stay put. He's in LA. which is, you know, the glitz, the glam, all that. I don't know that he cares about winning the championship as much anymore. Like he's just there to make his money, live his life. He already thinks that he's got that good shot as, you know, being called the best player ever compared to Jordan and
there
stuff
are
like
people
that.
that are doing it. So I mean, he's basically right there. He's accomplished everything that he can accomplish, I think.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that he's probably at this point in his career where he's just content with the money and doesn't really give a fuck about the other shit. I mean, and that's just me being more of a passive basketball fan and not a huge LeBron James fan. I respect the man and what he's done and accomplished and how good of a player he is and everything. But, you know, at this point, I don't know that he can go be a part of one of those teams, those super team type situations where you have the supporting cast around him without taking less money. And I just don't know that he's interested in that.
Jared, what you got?
I mean, for him, I think it's the right deal for him. I mean, look at the amount of money he's got. I think the Lakers had to do it because the Lakers want to stay relevant. Because if LeBron leaves LA, then what do they really have? A banged up AD every year. So that kind of diminishes their, I would say, what is it, shock value, you know, to get them on national TV all the time.
Jared, you're breaking up again.
I'm sorry, it's 480. Is that better?
No, you're good, man. I understand you're on the road. You are
Okay.
Probably going through some areas where it's not great, but we got you now. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Nope. I mean, if a robot knew what the fuck he was talking about, it would sound like Jared right now. That's
But
exactly
what Jared was getting at, though, I agree with. It is the right move for the Lakers as well because they need to stay relevant. You know, if you look back to when, you know, Kobe was there and they had Shaq and all that, like just having LeBron there is enough star power to still be putting asses in the seats.
But do you really think we're talking about the fucking Lakers? Do they need LeBron to put people in the seats? And we're talking about the Lakers. This is one of the biggest brands in American sports. I don't know that this is a good
I think that's
move.
part of what keeps them as the biggest brand in sports there in LA because they've got arguably the best player in the NBA or one of the best all time. And that's just always going to bring people in. I mean, if you watched Michael Jordan when he went and played for the Wizards, he still brought asses into the seats.
He absolutely
especially
did.
On the road. You know, I remember going to a Timberwolves game because we were playing the Wizards with Jordan, and I just wanted to see Jordan.
I want to see Jordan one time. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he still is going to have that sort of appeal where you absolutely have to keep him. You know, you have to do what you have to do to make sure that he stays there. They are going to really be, you know, shooting themselves in the kneecaps.
Yeah, I mean, because they still got that Russell Westbrook contract on the books as well. They cannot fucking find a way to get rid of. Russ is obviously taking his money because nobody else is going to pay him what he's getting from LA. It doesn't make basketball sense to me for this to be going on. Like, they need to kind of blow that team up. You can get rid of every other piece on that team with the exception of LeBron and AD, and you're going to get basically what you had last year. The names might not be as big, but I bet you get better production if you mix that up, but they can't find a way to do that. And then now they're signing on to another longer term deal, just ass loads of money to LeBron. Like, I get it. LeBron is, in my opinion, the greatest basketball player ever played. Okay. I'm not saying he's the GOAT. We've had this discussion before. He's not the GOAT. That's Jordan because he won more championships. But the best pure basketball player that I have ever seen is LeBron James. So I understand the appeal to get him in there. The conversation of, is he better than Jordan, is going to sell seats. But I don't know that they need that as the Lakers. Like, good for LeBron getting his money, but.
So the question is you let his contract run out or you trade him or something like that before he extends?
I guarantee there's a no trade clause. I guarantee there's a no trade clause.
No, I'm
but
saying
you can
like
go into free agency and you can have a conversation.
Yeah, there's a 15% trade kicker on this current contract. But I'm saying if he didn't sign this, just plays out what he has or gets traded beforehand. Doesn't really matter. You don't have that appeal for the Lakers. You don't have that guy on the Lakers.
It doesn't make sense. Like, okay, but this locks in the Lakers now they're drafting Bronny James, assuming Bronny James comes out when he's supposed to. He's in his senior year right now. He is going to go to, Ohio State, USC, or Oregon, from what we've heard, right? Probably a one and done. We're assuming if he performs well. And then he comes out. So that means that LeBron will be a Laker when Bronny gets drafted, at least his fucking rookie year. LeBron has talked very much about wanting to play with Bronny. So are the Lakers looking to bring Bronny in? Maybe we just keep this whole fucking James legacy going. Is this going to tie LeBron to, okay, I have to sign another because can he get another deal? I mean, he's LeBron James. Of course he can get another fucking deal just to be there probably after this next 3 years is up. But it doesn't make a ton of basketball sense to me about why this deal gets done. Jared, you got anything? Are you back? Can you hear us?
Am I back?
We can hear you. We got you.
Hello? Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, I think he really does want to play with his son. I think that was a big key in this contract because he knows that he's in one place where his son's now from, getting ready to go to college. And I think LA will actually do that for him. I don't think any other team probably would, but I think LA would do it just because, he kind of picked up you guys were talking about, LA, and they should be drawing a crowd no matter what because it's LA. Well, LA hasn't really been relevant since Kobe. And then LeBron has to come in and kind of save the day because they don't know how to run the team because they drafted horribly. So I think the whole goal for him is just to play with his son. And then after that, if he wants to keep playing with his son, he could take the vet minimum of $2 or $3 million and just have fun, ride the bench, just watch his son play.
That will never know. LeBron has entirely too much pride, I think, to allow that to happen where he would be riding the bench. I think he'll just sit on he'll buy the fucking team and sit on the sidelines and watch his son play. Like he's a billionaire, so he has, I think, the ability to do that.
Like the only thing that I can see him doing is being like, I will take X amount less money as long as Bronny gets that X amount extra to try to carry over.
That's sweeten the deal.
Monetary legacy.
Yeah, I don't even know, but that's not going to need to happen either. I mean, they have generational wealth for, I don't know, the next 100 generations.
Well, yeah, he's the most earningest player ever in the NBA. 532 million, is it something like that?
Yes, 532 million on the court.
Yeah, and so
that
if you look at just his sponsorships and all that stuff, endorsements, that's dropping the bucket probably. So
yeah, and I would imagine. So I don't know that he's passed Jordan. I don't know if anybody will ever pass Jordan because the Jordan brand has absolutely exploded. But it's insane what he can do, and so I don't know. It doesn't make basketball sense, but maybe this is a long game for the Lakers. And for LeBron to kind of get Bronny out, hopefully in that area, maybe because I don't know if he'll be a first round pick. If he falls to the second round, a one and done, fits perfectly on that Lakers team, learns from dad for a year. They can fucking kind of acclimate him to the NBA lifestyle that I'm sure he has a little bit of knowledge about already. Then he avoids G League. So it sounds really good in theory, but for the right now, if you're a Lakers fan, that's a lot of money to give up, and it doesn't make a ton of basketball sense based on the team around you. So, all right, that's all I got on that. You guys got anything else on the NBA? That we spent longer on that than I expected.
Oh, sir.
Jared, can you hear us again?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. So
I can hear you.
We are going to – perfect. We are going to switch over. Let's talk pro football. Let's get into it. We'll talk about the NCAA here towards the end. Not a ton of stuff there. Some hopeful things, but we have some tangible things that we need to talk about in the NFL. So let's kind of start diving into that. We had some more preseason games. Talked about it. The preseason games have been kind of what we expected. And some of the teams that we knew were not going to be very good have continued to not look very good. And I'm specifically talking about the Bears and how bad I feel for Justin Fields. The man is going to die. He has absolutely no opportunity to sit back, learn how to read a defense. He is under constant duress. And this Bears team, Evo, I was full in on the Jets are going to be the worst team in the NFL because it's the fucking Jets. I'm not high on Zach Wilson. But you kind of started to sway me towards this Bears take that the Bears are going to be the worst. We really liked Justin Fields coming out. We thought he had a lot of upside. He has absolutely nothing to work with, though. He has no chance under this offense they're running.
I still like Justin Fields, and some of the reports and stuff that I've seen, even from like local Minnesota reporters who are covering NFC North stuff and have actually gone to Chicago and stuff and watched some of their training camp, they're saying Justin Fields actually doesn't look bad. Like Justin Fields looks like he is developing, but again, he has no weapons around him. He doesn't have a team around him. Ryan Poles has absolutely gone in and blown this entire system up. And so I feel bad for the guy. I mean, just like the Jets is quarterback purgatory, the Bears is quarterback purgatory in the NFC. It's they haven't had a solid quarterback. I want to say in my lifetime. I mean, Rex Grossman wasn't the guy.
Rexy.
We're talking Jim McMahon, kind of, because he took him to the Super Bowl. Sid Luckman. That's where I'm at. Sid Luckman.
Okay, so Jay Cutler was really solid, but always found a way to fold under the pressure. Really, really talented guy, but found a way to fold under the pressure. They don't have a guy that has ever stepped up.
Jay Cutler,
so it has been kind of a
while I like Jay Cutler, he ends up being the Dollar Tree Brett Favre. He's a cannon of an arm, but I don't know, man. I feel bad for Justin Fields with a new GM, new regime coming in there. I feel like they're going to be pushing for their guy as early as next year because they're going to be having one of those top picks, man. And that's going to be his opportunity to go out there and get himself the quarterback that he wants. And hopefully Justin Fields is able to transition to a new team. Seattle. That will actually respect him and use him appropriately.
Wait, so you want a guy who has worked on a spread offense because you're making that kind of a transition as an offensive team in Seattle. Also dynamic, kind of like a Russ. Old coach, maybe has a lot of tangible skills, but doesn't have to start a whole new rebuild. Man, that sounds like a really good opportunity for Justin Fields and Seattle to kind of meet in the middle, especially if they're not willing to give up a massive amount of picks to go up and get the guy that they don't know is going to be there for the rebuild, because Pete Carroll's not going to be there for that much longer.
That's the thing, is I'm not willing to even go out on that limb just yet because we got to see how the season plays out. I mean, Seattle is right now, if I had to say today, the worst three teams, it's going to be the Bears, Seahawks, and Jets in that order. But I mean, like you said, Pete Carroll, he ain't going to be around forever. He might want his one last shot at glory, and that might be taking one of those top quarterbacks in the draft.
God, he's 78 years old. He can't last that long for him to develop.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know. Either way,
I don't see it.
Chicago and Seattle played Thursday night. 27 Chicago, 11 Seattle, and it was just not a fun game. The stat lines looked pretty goddamn boring. I feel bad for Justin Fields, but I mean, hey, it's whatever. I guess just another team in the NFC North that hopefully my Vikings can get past.
Yeah. Jared, did you get to see any of this? And I know you're probably a Justin Fields fan. You're an Ohio State guy. So what is your take on his situation going out there with the Bears?
I am, and I think this kind of proves it all depends on what team you're drafted to. If you got a good team that you're drafted to, you're going to succeed. With this shit show that they got going on in Chicago, I feel bad for that kid. I really do, because it's almost like watching Tim Couch all over again in the Browns expansion. Tim Couch could have been a great quarterback, but when you got backup offensive linemen in front of you and no weapons at all, What are you supposed to do with that? How are you supposed to develop? How are you supposed to win?
Now he has a guy. Daryl Mooney is a dude. That dude, he will route you up, no problem. Some of the crispest routes I have ever seen an NFL guy run.
He's
Very
not a
much
one, though.
He's not a one, but man, he would feast as a two. He would be probably one of the most dominant twos in the league if he had another guy. So it's not he has no weapons. I don't know that they know how to utilize the weapons. I don't understand. I don't know if they know how to utilize Justin Fields even now. This is a whole new regime. The offense is getting better. Like he was a little bit more crisp, but he is still under constant pressure because they didn't fix the offensive line. They let one of the most underrated offensive linemen in all of football fucking walk because Eberflus was like, fuck it, we're just blowing this thing up and we're starting over. It didn't make sense. We talked about it when it happened.
Well, that's I just don't get what the vision is there. Like if you come in as the new GM, if I'm Ryan Poles, I come in as the new GM and I decide this team is kind of a dumpster fire. We need to cut all the fat off and start new. You still need some sort of a vision that you'll see through free agency and the draft. And we just didn't really see any of that happen. Like you cut contracts that are dead weight and things like that. Yeah, go for it, Jared.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Well, I mean, with the new GM that came in, I mean, shouldn't he looked at Justin Fields and said, all right, well, we got a starting quarterback. We need to build around him. Like, shouldn't that have been the first thing? If you're taking that job, that's the first thing you're looking at as soon as you get in there.
I would like
so
to
you
think
have
that's
a
the way
star
everybody would do it.
Quarterback that you can actually build around.
I would like to think that's the way everybody would do it. However, I think a lot of GMs are very headstrong and they want to come in. They want to put their stamp on the team. I built this team. I won this city a Super Bowl. And I think there's a lot of pride and a lot of ego that goes into that that I do not understand because it doesn't matter who the fuck drafted who. If you win Super Bowl, if you're the GM or the head coach when you win a Super Bowl, you know who's getting the fucking credit? You. It'll take a lot of digging to people to find out, oh, maybe he didn't have that great of a record as drafting, but he found a way to put together a team. Like, I don't know why they all want to do this and put their stamp on it, but I've seen it just throughout basically my entire time watching the NFL. They want to put their own stamp on this. It doesn't matter if you have a guy, you won't be his guy, so you're no longer on the team. So we saw it with Joe Hayden.
Ryan Poles was very non-committal in the offseason towards Justin Fields when he was asked his thoughts on him. He was very non-committal. Like he gave the normal stuff like, yeah, he's our starting quarterback, but he wasn't given anything like he's our quarterback of the future type thing. Whereas you guys being Ohio State fans and stuff and watching Justin Fields and being big on him, me going through the draft process thinking, hey, I would like to see what a replacement to Kirk Cousins looks like and being excited about Justin Fields. I think we can see his potential and he shows some of that potential on the field. But when you have 10 other guys around you that are second team players, like second string type guys, it's really tough.
All 10 of them. Well,
it's really tough.
Mooney is not a second string guy. He's a number 2, but he starts on damn near every team in the NFL.
For sure. And it's just, I wish that he would have gone in there and given Fields a fair shot, and I don't feel like that's what's happening. But me, again, if I'm putting on the GM hat, and obviously I'm not a GM because, I'd be, not doing a podcast. I would just be chilling in my office making these cool deals. I would have focused on that offense. You have Mooney. You have a quarterback, which is the toughest position to fill. I'm going to strengthen my offense. I'm just going to take this entire offseason, bring in a couple vets, and focus most of my draft on this offense. The defense is going to suffer, but I'm bringing in a defensive head coach in Matt Eberflus. Let him start to develop the guys. That's why you should be bringing him in, is that he's got that defensive background. Help him develop that guy. Get his defensive coordinators and coaches in there to help develop those guys. But give Justin Fields something to work with so you guys can at least stay offensively competitive and then work in the years going forward on that. At least that's a vision. That didn't need to be his vision. That would have been mine. But I just don't see any vision with that team. And it
So
sucks.
you brought it up. You hire Eberflus, right? Defensive coach, and you're gonna trade your best defensive player because you lowballed him.
Yeah.
I don't understand what they're doing, and it sucks for Justin Fields, but I see no
I'm not even-
positives in this for him.
I'm not even against them getting rid of Khalil Mack. I'm not.
No,
'Cause
Roquan.
it's a big.
Are they?
Roquan isn't gone yet,
He will be.
but I mean, so Khalil Mack, I'm good with getting rid of that. That's a contract. That's one of those things where you
I'm
got to
okay
cut
with
the
the
fat and
Khalil
things like
Mack
that.
trade, but getting rid of one of the best young off the ball linebackers in the NFL, I don't get it. That is a staple, especially in a fan base like the Bears where they love their fucking linebackers. You can put that guy could get a statue in that organization if he's the next great linebacker. You got your fucking the number. You go Urlacher. It's just insane to me that they're going to be like, fuck this guy. We're out.
I mean,
I don't understand the vision at all.
You're a lot higher on Roquan than I am. I think that he is a good linebacker in the league. I don't think he's anywhere. We're not talking about
He is a
Urlacher
sideline
level.
to sideline guy. No, okay, so Urlacher's a Hall of Famer, so that's
sure.
not easy to get to that level. But we're talking about one of the best linebackers they've had in a long time. I don't get it, and they're fucked.
I mean, he's not
The Bears
Urlacher,
could
he's
be the
not
worst
Lance
team.
Briggs, he's not that, but he is the most solid defender on their team. And it's, I mean, they're losing them because they're not willing to commit. And that's at least some sort of vision could have kept him there, probably. I don't know. Either way, we're talking about an absolute shit show of a game. And two shit shows of teams here. I'm sure we're beating a dead horse right now.
Yeah,
So
we are. But one thing I do want to bring up is fucking dude, Eason has got just an absolute fucking hose. And yes, I am talking about his arm this time. He can fucking sling it.
I mean, that was his thing in Washington. Jacob Eason had a cannon. He was the quarterback down there for the Colts, or a backup for him, never made it. But that's his thing, is got a cannon, but he doesn't have the accuracy or anything else to really go along with it.
Yeah, they got to figure something out there. I feel bad for him. All right, we'll get off of that game because I don't want to go into the game too much. I saw what I needed to see when I saw some clips. Justin Fields he's fucked. Eason's got a hose, and the Bears, I think Evo's now convinced me that they're going to probably be the worst team in the NFL.
And so I'm sure that we're going to want to talk about these preseason games coming up, especially, your Browns games coming up, my Vikings game coming up this weekend. But a couple other things that have happened in the NFL. One, a name that you might recognize from the Bills last year, Dawson Knox, his younger brother passed away. He was a linebacker, I believe, at Ole Miss. And transferred to FIU. And tragically passed away at the age of 22 in the past day or so. There hasn't been anything really released as to what happened there yet. But no foul play expected. However, I actually spoke to our buddy Sven last night, who's a big Bills fan. I was like, well, I guess this probably means a career year for Dawson Knox. Not that he didn't just have one last year, and we've already been kind of banging on the table. Bills probably going to the Super Bowl. I mean, it's a sad way to do it, but it seems like that tends to be they're normally some sort of an emotional catalyst. It's pretty fucking sad for a kid that age to pass away from something, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. I know that the Bills have already spoken on it. Lane Kiffin's spoken on it. Kind of shook some guys around the league in college football as well.
And I think Dawson is definitely on the rise. If he needs time away to deal with this, take as much time as you need. Like, I'm a big family guy. Family is the most important thing in my life. So get away, go take care of your family, do those things. And then whenever he comes back, I don't expect any kind of drop off. He's definitely ascending. So, and then Jared, so you heard Evo. So we're both on the Bills making the playoffs. Have you guys on your show done your predictions for playoff winners, or I'm sorry, Super Bowl winners, and who do you expect to be there yet?
We haven't done it yet, but I mean, everybody knows, like, especially with the AFC as loaded as it is. I mean, the Bills have got one of the best chances. I mean, I lean towards them, especially after last year and the step they took. But I mean, you still have, it's just so jam-packed with really good teams and young quarterbacks. So I think the AFC is going to be harder to predict than the NFC.
Yeah, and speaking about the NFC, the team that I kind of thought was going to make it there, they're missing their quarterback. Tom Brady is not at fucking camp. He has not shown up, and they're not even sure if he is going to show up from some of the things that I've read. There's a possibility that Tom is taking as much time away as he wants. I'm not sure that he wanted to come out of retirement to play for the Bucks. Very well documented. So are we worried that Tom is just gonna say, fuck it? You know what? Hey, Adam Schefter, now I'm fucking retired.
Me personally, that's like the whole situation initially just seemed weird. Now, obviously, you're Tom Brady. You're, one of the best, if not the best, quarterbacks of all time. You're in your 40s. You kind of
45.
are given these opportunities to kind of step away when you want to and have a little bit more R&R, spend time with the family. And I'm sure that there were some of these things talked about when he was coming back of him being like, hey, if I feel like not practicing, I'm not going to practice. You guys just got to be cool with it. If I feel like not being in training camp, you guys just got to be cool with it. And the team was probably like, yeah, sure, because we don't have any other option at quarterback.
Trask.
Yeah, well.
And you're freaking Tom Brady.
Yeah, absolutely. But the more this lingers on and the less that the team puts out about it, because I know Bowles has basically said like, hey, talk to me again in a week. We'll see where we're at. It makes me feel more and more like the team might not even be completely sure of what's happening here. They say that this was all pre-planned and that they knew about it and everything, but you think that they would have done a little bit better of a release of being like, hey, he's going to, he's 45 years old. He's one of the best of all time. We're going to let him relax and enjoy himself. He doesn't really need this training camp, which, I mean, I can argue for or against, but either way, like there's a weird feeling around it where maybe he's like, I'm, in Turks and Caicos right now with my supermodel wife and my kids, and I'm kissing my son on the lips and my dad on the lips and all the boys on the lips, and I'm just gonna enjoy doing that down here, and I might just not come back for a little while. Like I don't know. It gives me a weird feeling that maybe he's gonna have a change of heart and decide, I'm good.
Yeah, hey, I'm telling you, Adam Schefter, guess what? Now I'm fucking retired. Jared, what do you got?
I'm loving this conversation. All I can do is laugh because I mean it's Tom Brady. If he wants to practice, he's going to practice. If he doesn't, he doesn't. I mean, I think he's put in enough time, and I'm pretty sure the organization, he's just good. He's just chilling on the beach right now, going, "Not to actually play football yet." All right, no, okay. Call me when I do.
I mean, that is entirely a possibility, but that's not typically in Tom's MO. Tom's the guy who's there. He's the lead by example type guy, and I think he might be like, you know what? I don't have to fucking do this anymore. It's still very weird to me that there he goes again. Still very weird that he's not, back in camp yet, and there has not really been too much conversation about it. But obviously, we'll keep tabs on that as that information continues to be released. If some information actually is released, instead of them keeping it kind of hush hush.
I mean, if I had to put money on everything, I would say that yes, Tom is going to come. He's going to play the season, but the way that he has kind of approached this offseason, that it will be his last year. But again, if I'm putting money on it, he's going to come back. He's going to play this year. However, if you think about this was never going to happen when he's playing for Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick is the top dog there. Belichick would not allow it. Doesn't care how old you fucking are or how many championships you've won, how many MVPs. You're coming to camp. You're going to be around. Bruce Arians, not as much, like Bill Belichick, but he's still kind of the top dog there, and he understands that it's a little bit more of a timeshare with Tom and everything to get him down there. But now you got Todd Bowles as the main guy, and Tom probably knows, like, I have the biggest dick in this room, and I can do what I want, and everyone's going to listen to me, and he can just kind of get away with whatever he wants, rightfully so for the most part. So this just might be him kind of being like that kid pushing his limits, seeing like, how far can I take this?
Absolutely could be. All right, you guys got anything else on the Tom news before we move on to our obligatory, Deshaun Watson talk that we have to get to?
Let's get into it.
All right. Well, so the ruling has come down, but it wasn't a ruling at all. This was a settlement between the NFL and the NFLPA. Deshaun Watson is going to be out 11 games, and he is being fined $5 million. That fine is apparently going to be sent to some organizations for people who are victims of sexual assault. The NFL is trying to, I think, put a nice little spin on where this money is going to go. It's not just going into the NFL's pocket like most fines do. And I'm glad that we finally have a resolution, but this is not the last time that we are going to talk about this. And the NFL made it worse by going with 11 games because his first game back is going to be against the Texans in Houston, going back to where all of this shit happened. I don't understand why they would allow that to be the move. Maybe Deshaun pushed that. Listen, I'm only taking 11 games because I'm going to come back and I want to play the fucking Texans. I was on Spaces last night kind of talking about this with the guys at Browns After Dark. Shout out to those guys. I'm glad it's over. 11 games doesn't make sense. But how are you guys feeling? Is this the right move? Does this help the optics for the NFL and for Deshaun? I have my opinions on the optics for Deshaun because he, once again, does not know how to PR anything. But, Eva, I want to get your take.
So Goodell came out with very, very strong language, stuff that he hadn't said before, saying predatory and all this stuff. I think that was maybe like 75% bullshit. All right. Goodell is a businessman. He knows that he needs to try to show some strength for the NFL and go for more games than the 6 that Watson originally had. But also, he knows that the NFL does not want this to drag on. If they let this continue to go where the judge makes the ruling or the attorney general guy that they appointed, this is going to go to some sort of federal court probably, because Watson's going to press charges or whatever. He's going to go after the NFL if they try to extend it to a full year. The NFL had to have hoped that this would go to a settlement. And going to a settlement was not going to end up looking good for the NFL. I think Watson already has the poo smeared on his face as much as it's going to be unless more victims come forward. But he's already got all the shit caked on him. It's not going to get worse for him. The only people that this ends up looking worse for potentially is the NFL, which in this case, I think it did. Because, I mean, strong words from Tony Busby, the attorney for the women, saying that by settling this manner the way he has, Roger Goodell has proven one of two things. Either his recent rhetoric was utter baloney, or his bark is much worse than his bite. My belief is that he is nothing more than a paper tiger. The message today to all victims is clear. If you believe you've been sexually assaulted by a powerful person, keep your mouth shut and go away. The NFL has certainly demonstrated that its ownership and the organization doesn't care. And Tony Busby is coming from the point of like, hey, if you really care about sexual assault, you don't care how long this drags on. You go for the maximum. You go for the year-long or indefinite suspension. That's Tony Busby's take. And I think that's probably a large portion of, I guess, moral Americans or moral football fans' take, is that, the NFL should not be considering the PR nightmare that this is. They should be trying to do what is morally correct and go after Deshaun Watson to the full extent. By taking a settlement, you guys are both agreeing to, less than what people want to push it under the rug. Same way that when Deshaun Watson settled all those cases and the Texans settled all those cases, people feel like, hey, we're going to throw money at this problem, push it under the rug. For this one, $5 million, 11 games. Yes, it's more than the 6 games, but now it is not on Sue Robinson. It is not on Deshaun Watson. It is on the NFL. And the NFL has decided that 60 plus accounts of sexual assault is only worth 11 games. That's how the average fan, the average person looking at this is going to take it.
Yeah, it's a really bad look. I was expecting a full year. I wasn't sure if they were going to settle. They found a way to settle. I was not a big proponent of the Deshaun trade. I finally got to go down to camp. Deshaun still looks very, very rusty. I am worried about what he's going to look like when he gets back. His PR team has not done a good job. He is supposed, there are things in this reinstatement that he is supposed to take responsibility and be contrite and go through counseling. And then he comes out and he says that now he maintains his innocence after the Browns once again go out and say that he is working on being a better person. Nothing is lining up. Nothing is matching up. And it doesn't make sense. But before we continue on, I wanted to give a shout out to, Jared Fatty Bates, host of the Illegal Ham to the Face podcast. He is not going to be able to join us again. He is losing connection, a lot. He is on the road. He was joining us via audio because he is driving. So we want to thank him very much for joining us, kind of, helping us out today and giving us some other takes and, the ones that, we're used to hearing. So appreciate him. And if you guys want to check out that podcast, anywhere podcasts are found. And then if you guys go on Twitter, you can find Illegal Ham to the Face as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for Jared popping on. It's always good to get some extra voices in here. We don't want this just to be our little dummy thick idiot echo chamber going.
Correct. All right. But back to Deshaun. 11 games it's more games. It looks slightly better for the NFL, but I think the settlement is not great because all the things that you talked about, it looks like they just wanted to get this over with. They wanted to be done. And then the PR spin is also not great. And the fact that he's coming back against Houston, it stinks to the high heavens to me. Like
it looks planned.
The NFL is manufacturing drama, or Deshaun is manufacturing drama to pump this game. And there's really good games that week, but now this is going to be the biggest storyline in all of the NFL come, week 13, when he finally gets back on the field. And I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense. A lot of Browns fans are like, why the fuck would they allow this to happen? And my only thought is that I think the NFL hopes that they lose that game, because then now Deshaun has lost to his former team and they can kind of bury Deshaun a little bit.
I don't know. That's when the NFL makes the schedule. They are making the schedule based off of dramatic connections in many ways. I mean, they plan games out specifically. It's not coincidence that the Vikings play the Packers week 1. They want that drama filled type of, rivalry game. They do this throughout their schedule. They pick and choose. You're not going to have a single week where you have a matchup that doesn't seem to make sense. Right? They do that all the time. This, from the outside looking in, whether it was intentional or not, looks a little bit planned to have this happen, and it's not a good look. Like I was saying earlier, the settlement, unless the settlement had it be indefinite, which obviously Deshaun's not going to settle for that.
Right.
I think it doesn't hurt Deshaun's image. It hurts the NFL's image. If that attorney general had doled out an 11-game suspension and there was no settlement, the NFL doesn't look as bad.
Agreed. 100%.
But because they were willing to settle and come to an agreement, it shows that they wanted to be done with the situation just as much as Deshaun wanted to be done with the situation.
And then they're going to allow him to go back to Houston. And that's what it looks like.
Yeah. It's not a great look.
Yeah, this is bad all around. Now let's go ahead and I'm going to pull up the schedule right now for the Browns, and we'll kind of take a look if they have a chance to do anything once Deshaun gets back, because the schedule to start the season is going to be very soft. When it was a 6-game suspension, I had some hopes that, you know what, we could go 4-2. Deshaun comes back, and then some things could happen, and we could make a run at the playoffs. Now, 11 games, that's much tougher to kind of come out 500, especially when you take a look at the schedule. Now, we've talked about those first few games. You are kind of on the Panthers. You kind of want to see the Panthers win. I don't know if you believe that the Panthers can win.
Look, like I was saying, I think the Browns are a better team, top to bottom, better team. But I just feel in my gut like this is one of those games where the Panthers could absolutely take this one.
Yeah, and now Baker has been named the starter, so there's that high drama, exactly what the NFL wants. So I have us winning those first four. So that's Panthers, Jets, Steelers, I believe that we could beat, and the Falcons. So that we're starting out 4-0. Then the schedule gets much, much tougher. We got Jacoby leading us in against the Chargers. I don't think that Jacoby can beat the Chargers. I think Justin Herbert is a stud. I think that Chargers are top to bottom one of the most improved and best teams in the AFC. They're going to be very tough to beat. So we'll start out 4-0, and then we'll drop one to the Chargers. And it's not a cakewalk going into the next week. I'm not super high on the Patriots, especially with the things that are going on with the organization, not having an offensive coordinator. The offense kind of looks like it's, misfiring on all cylinders right now. But by week 6, you'd think the Patriots will start to figure some things out, and that's not going to be an easy game. I think it's winnable, but that's not a game that I can say, yep, we're winning that. What do you got on that game, that Patriots-Browns game?
I'm off the Patriots this year still. I'm not really high on what they got going there. Mac Jones, he was the most NFL ready quarterback last year. We saw that. He's got the highest floor of all those guys, but I think he still has the lowest ceiling. There's been a large debate for whatever reason in not for whatever reason, but in some of my Vikings forums that I'm a part of about, would you rather have Mac Jones right now or Kirk Cousins right now, because of their positions on the NFL top 100, right next to one another, with Mac Jones edging out Kirk Cousins. And for me, it's Kirk Cousins all the way, because I don't think Mac Jones can reach Kirk Cousins' ceiling as far as his playing potential. I just don't. If you're talking contract and stuff like that, then yeah, right now Mac Jones is going to provide you a lot more cap space and things like that, and you might be able to put an even better team around him. But I just don't see as lively an arm as you want from a quarterback. It is like a less exciting Tom Brady type situation, and there's not the magic there right now that Tom Brady provides. And that's I don't feel like they did a ton to really improve that Patriots team that we saw last year. We're going to see an uptick from Mac Jones. He's going to be better this year, but I don't think he's going to be dramatic by any means. I'm just not on the Patriots this year. I'm really not. So I think that you guys should be able to win that game, even if you're, rolling out there with Brissett or,
Josh Dobbs.
I really do like Dobbs.
I like Dobbs too. Dobbs looked really good in camp as well. He's looked really good basically every day. A lot of good reports coming out. And when I was there, he was very, very sharp, quick with the ball too. His release is very quick, gets the ball out to his guys. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with rolling with Jacoby or Dobbs, because we're going to do a lot of other things to help those guys. The offense will look drastically different when Deshaun gets in there. But that's not going to be till week 11. Then we go on. We got the Ravens and the Bengals. Those are going to be two very tough division games. I expect us to beat the Ravens and the Bengals one time each this year. I don't know if it'll be right here, though. Very tough for me to say that we're going to have diminished quarterback play and we're going to go out and we're going to beat the Ravens, or we're going to beat the Bengals, who we think will be good. They could obviously have a massive hangover from the Super Bowl loss, but if that Ravens team is healthy, they're going to be fantastic. I expect them to be really, really good, probably win the North, especially now that we are going to be playing with some diminished quarterback play.
Yeah, the Ravens and the Bengals are both going to be really tough really solid teams. That this is like really where I'm feeling the weakness at your guys' quarterback spot. Unless Brissett doesn't excite me. I think that he's competent and average. Dobbs, even though he hasn't necessarily shown anything spectacular in his career other than being a backup, he excites me a little bit more than Brissett does. And maybe you get some sort of a Case Keenum type performance where the rest of the team around him is so good that you're able to, have some magic happen, like happened with Case Keenum and the Vikings. It obviously didn't happen with you guys last year, though.
No, it did not.
When Case played. So, I still have some questions, but the Ravens and Bengals, both those could easily be losses right there.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm saying. Now we get into the Dolphins, and I think we should easily beat the Dolphins. Everybody who's ever listened to this podcast knows that I'm not high on Tua. You're not high on Tua. Now it'll be interesting to see how that offense evolves with Mike McDaniels there, but I still think that we could beat the Dolphins.
That's where I want to see Justin Fields go. That'd be exciting.
Okay. So I got us winning the first 4. We can get the Patriots. We can get the Dolphins. That puts us at 6. Then 2 games after that, I don't think we have a chance in fucking hell of winning. The Bills are so good. And the Bucks, assuming that Tom is back and Tom is playing at Tom's level, we should lose to the Bills and the Bucks.
Yeah, I'm in agreement.
So that puts us at 6-5 when Deshaun gets back and we take on the Texans. The Texans team is actually going to be pretty improved. I like Davis Mills. Davis Mills showed me some things last year that I was not expecting. Now, we did kind of talk up Davis Mills a little bit in the pre-draft process that, this kid out of Stanford, he might have some things. I don't know if he's going to get a shot, but he ended up getting quite a good look last year.
I expected him to be a high-tier backup quarterback. I expected that out of him. He exceeded those expectations last year. I still am not convinced that he's going to take any further step this year. I think that he'll kind of be the same. Obviously, a year in the NFL, full training camp as a starter, he's going to show improvement. Just, better knowledge with the systems that they're running and everything like that. But I'm never looking at Davis Mills honestly as being an NFL starter.
Yeah, I mean, he's got some skills. He can be a starter for a while. He's never going to be a top tier guy, but that's okay. But 6-5, I don't know if getting out of this at 6-5 is going to be good enough when Deshaun gets back to really make a run, because the AFC is going to be fucking stacked.
Yeah.
And that makes this year kind of suck for Browns fans because we were expecting to really compete. We got a fantastic defense, one of the best, if not the best, offensive line in all of football, and the deepest group of running backs in the NFL. 6-5 is going to be tough. Now, if we can find a way to get a game that we shouldn't get, and we can go out 7-4, that'll feel much better about our chances to make the playoffs once Deshaun gets back, assuming he comes back and is the player that he was last time we saw him. But right now, I got it 6, 7, maybe. I think realistically it's 5, though. And that does not inspire confidence that this team is going to just catch fire at the end of the season. Yeah. And,
I'm personally not feeling good about you guys winning the AFC North. Just with that whole situation, not having the quarterback set up, AFC North, I don't see you guys going after it. And then we got to talk wild card, and with how good the AFC should be this year, it's going to be an uphill fight, man.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very tough.
That's the thing that's going to suck is you guys will still have a good team out there. You're going to have a fun team to watch, but it's going to be a fucking fight.
Oh, every week. And then once Deshaun gets back, we're walking into some of the most hostile situations you could possibly walk into, especially that first game back going to fucking Houston. It's going to be very tough. I do not like our chances to make the playoffs this year. I would be ecstatic and just, surprised if they find a way to really rally around, get that 7 wins, and have a chance once Deshaun gets back. But I kind of wanted to see where you were. If you think that the Browns can kind of hang on for dear life until he gets back, but even when he does get back, we don't know what's going to happen.
Operating off the previous thought of him coming back after 6 games and you guys, having a solid, an easier start to that beginning of your schedule and expecting him to play like he did when he was last with the Texans, I thought that you guys would at least be a wild card team. It's tough right now since we've only seen that small sample size from him in the first preseason game. And it's going to be a while. So, before he steps on the field again. So, yeah, it's tough. It's tough for me, man, to even say you guys, I think you guys will be lucky to be fighting for a wild card spot at this point.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, and it fucking sucks. I hate saying that. This is kind of a Browns and Vikings centric show, and as the Browns fan, I hate saying, "Oh yeah, we're not gonna be competing," because I think you guys will very much compete, especially with your new coaching staff.
It's a familiar feeling for both of us, though.
Yeah.
So at least we have a little bit of calloused hearts when it comes to our football teams in the playoffs.
We do.
Who do the Browns got this week for their preseason game? And what are you looking forward to storyline wise in this preseason matchup?
So we got the Eagles. We get to go out and play Goose's team, Roberto Gooselini. We've had some joint practices. We have looked really, really good. And one guy that is absolutely having himself a fucking week of practice is Jerome Ford. Jerome Ford is going to work himself into being a role player, an integral role player on this Cleveland Browns offense. He can do things that, Kareem Hunt can do. I think he runs the ball a little bit better than D'Ernest. He's not Nick Chubb, but we don't need him to be Nick Chubb. We don't need 2 Nick Chubbs. We need a guy who can kind of take over that role of what D'Ernest and what Kareem Hunt were doing and giving, Chubb a break. So that tells me that he's already asked for a trade and he probably will be on the trade block in Kareem Hunt. I don't see a reason to hold on to him and have 4 running backs on this squad. Now, obviously, we're going to have to run the ball quite a bit, especially with Jacoby or Josh Dobbs at quarterback for 11 games. But you can't get all 4 of those guys touches, so you got to find a way to maximize the value out of that position, a position that is drastically downgraded in the NFL's grand scheme of things. Running backs are not nearly as highly respected as an integral part of the game. So I think that we're going to see probably a trade here in the next week with Kareem Hunt getting shipped out. We could see D'Ernest, but if Kareem is looking for a new contract, I don't think he's getting it with the Browns, especially with what Jerome Ford has done.
Jerome Ford, to me, you're going to get as good a production out of him. Maybe not this year, but at least by next year. I think he's the real deal. He could be a starter at a lot of spots in a year or 2.
I mean, snatching ankles,
and that's the same way that's the same way that Kareem is, though. I feel like he's a starter on a lot of teams.
Yeah.
So, for Kareem, I mean, it sucks for you guys, but right now it's an opportunity for you guys to get a little bit of trade capital back. You guys have absolutely rock solid replacements to take over his role. So I'd be pulling the trigger if I was you guys on that trade. Got to do it before the Vikings do it, though, because Alexander Mattison might be one of those trade candidates too.
I did not hear about that.
He'll be cheaper. That's just my gut feeling. I like me some Alexander Mattison, but we can get into that in a little bit, talking about the Vikings, because that's one game that we didn't really get to talk about last week because my Vikings hadn't played yet. The only team that hadn't played.
We'll get to it.
I've got my thoughts, but so you're looking forward to.
I want to see more Jerome Ford. I want to see more Jerome Ford. And then I was actually talking about this last night on Spaces. A guy on the defense that I really want to see step up and take ownership of a role that he was drafted to take is Grant Delpit. Highly, touted guy out of LSU, plays safety. Sometimes we'll play 3 safeties on the field. He is an absolute stud, or was before some of the injuries caught up to him at LSU. He's performed well. I think that if he can really carve out a role, if we can have maybe Grant move down into the box, we get a joke and a Delpit down there who can do a lot of different things in coverage against tight ends. This can be a really, really dominant defense, but I want to see Grant Delpit take that next step, because I love John Johnson playing in the middle of the defense. Ronnie Harrison is a guy that I think can also be a box safety, but he's a little more limited in what he could do. I think that Grant Delpit really needs to step up and seize that role as this other starting safety next to John Johnson III. And I'm looking for him to get a lot of playing time and really make an impact. Somebody that I've been super excited about that we missed out on his entire rookie year because of a torn Achilles. So that's the guy that I'm looking forward to really take a step forward.
All right. Well, kind of keeping it in the AFC North here. I know last week you brought up, banging the table for you guys, Sky Moore being who you expect to be the offensive rookie of the year.
He's going to get so many fucking targets, and he's so good. But I know, and this is going to hurt my heart when we talk about this, because he actually did look really good. But go ahead.
Yeah, so
lay it out there.
Just to recap here real quick. Sky Moore did have 3 catches, 23 yards, and he looked very good in that playing time. And there's not going to be a ton of receiving options out there for Kansas City. Mahomes needs to send it somewhere other than just Kelsey. So I absolutely expect Sky Moore to have a fantastic year. One of the guys that I was high on, who's now in the AFC North, coming out of Georgia, is George Pickens. All right. I liked him. Falling in the second round, I thought that he was better than some of the guys taken in the first. But he comes with, some knocks on him, an injury history. He also has a history of getting pretty chippy and things like that, which could get you in some hot water. However, dude has had stellar reviews in training camp so far, and he definitely put that out on the field last week when the Pittsburgh Steelers played the Seahawks. Now, a little caveat to this. All 3 of the quarterbacks that played for the Steelers looked good. I know that there's been a lot of talks about Steeler quarterback in camp not looking great, whether it's Trubisky or whoever. Mason Rudolph came out, didn't look half bad. 9 of 15 for 93 yards and a touchdown. Mitch Trubisky came out 4 of 7, 63 yards and a touchdown. And Kenny Pickett came out 13 of 15 and 2 touchdowns, 95 yards. He actually looked damn good. All right. But Pickens went out there and he looked like a vet. Like he automatically, I'm trying, like after having watched the game, watched some of his cut up stuff, I'm trying to nail down who he reminds me of based off of his size, speed, catching ability, his willingness to block, and his attitude. And I can't really get it down. Like he's a different mesh of guys. So I got a video pulled up. It's going to be about 1:40 here of some George Pickens action. But he just absolutely makes cornerback for Seattle look like shit here. Let's see here. Pull this up. All right. So I got the sound turned off, so we're not going to be hearing any of the game replay stuff. But you can kind of see him highlighted here at the top of your screen.
Good route.
Yep.
Good route. Make the corner flip his hips and then stop on him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I don't know if it's just the number or his ability to run routes super well, but that reminds me of Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs, one of the better route runners in the NFL, but he's bigger than Diggs. All right. And then he's getting out here. He's already willing blocker.
Blocking. Just finding multiple guys to block. And
extending
Pittsburgh
that run.
Pittsburgh Steelers fans are going to.
Boom. That's the play right there. That's at the bottom of your screen. You're going to see this. Ward. You're going to see this again right here. Bottom of the boom. Get off me, bitch.
And then waves at him too. And lets him know that I just fucking sunned you.
Now, that's the cornerback wasn't expecting it, wasn't paying attention, and all cornerbacks are on notice right now. And then look, Mason Rudolph drops it perfect in the breadbasket there, and somehow he's able to keep both his feet in there in the end zone
Late
for the
hands,
touchdown.
doesn't show his hands early to the cornerback, so that's a veteran move. That's outlaw Santonio Holmes. If we're gonna keep talking about Steelers fucking receivers, great toe tap in the back of the end zone. He looks really, really good right now. I might have been entirely wrong about this guy. Looks really good. Looks like a vet.
Great catch. Hands, keeps feet in bounds, secures it. Like the guy looks like a vet. Guy looks like a vet. Like I'm impressed with how he looks. And so right now, I'm saying that he's my offensive rookie of the year. We'll see as things progress a little bit here. Once we get into our show right before the regular season starts. That's true.
Can the quarterback play hold up?
But I think that he is the best receiver on that team right now.
Better than Deontay? Because I'm not even bringing Claypool into this because Claypool is very one-dimensional.
Yep. I think Deontay is a little bit more one-dimensional. He's a little bit more of the burner. He's going to be more of that deep threat, whereas Pickens is going to be able to work all over the field, the slants. He's going to be in the run game. He's the type of receiver that you don't take off the field because he helps you in the run game. Like, he affords that team so much. So, but like I was saying, before we get into the regular season, we're going to have, in that show beforehand, we're going to kind of lock in stone some of these predictions.
Yeah, some offensive rookie, some defensive rookie, MVP, all of our picks for who's going to come out with these awards.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, listen, he looks very good. He looks like a seasoned vet. So I'm as of right now, I am wrong that George Pickens is not a dude. Right now, he looks like a dude. We are still in preseason, so I don't want to overhype him just yet.
Yep, and you're playing the Seahawks.
Yeah.
And you're Seahawks secondary that's not that good, and not necessarily the starters. So there's definitely a lot of caveats, but just his route running, his aggressiveness, his hands, that looks like it can translate even going up against starters.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah, it does. Like, he looks really good. That fucking pisses me off.
Yep.
Not because I was wrong, because he plays for the Steelers.
Yeah.
I got no problem being wrong, but I want the Steelers to suck.
Mm-hmm. Hey, so. I'm rooting for him, not because he's a Steeler or anything like that, but because I like seeing that sort of aggressive play, especially out of a skill position that you're not expecting that sort of play from. The aggressiveness like that, you just don't expect it from the receivers.
Yeah,
you expect the jaw jacking and stuff like that, but they're not going to back it up with that sort of aggressive play. It'll be interesting to see how much he does that going forward, because like I said, cornerbacks are on notice now. They've all are going to watch that one cut up of film before any game that they play him against, and they're all going to try to get their chips in now.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
They absolutely are. They absolutely are. All right. So I know we wanted to talk about Vikings and their game. Do we have anything else in the NFL before we move on to your Vikings?
I mean, it's preseason, man. We could talk on all these games, but they don't really matter right now. And there's not a ton of huge storylines with it necessarily. But yeah, so my Vikings ended playing the Raiders. We lost 26-20. Had an opportunity at the end to possibly go and get the go-ahead score, but I'm not too worried about the score. I'm more worried about what I saw from our guys that actually did play. So starters, not all of them played. A bunch of them played, that first drive or two, and they looked okay, but KOC was very clear going into it that they were going to be running a very bland tapioca playbook. They didn't want to let anything out. They're more of seeing technique and stuff like that, and the fundamentals of this offense and defense going out there and playing. And I think that's kind of what we saw. So one of the first things for me was Kirk Cousins wasn't going to be making the trip out there, COVID positive. He's back in practice again this week, doing joint practices with the 49ers, who will be playing this weekend. So we had Kellen Mond and Sean Mannion going out, both of who I said, hey, I don't think they're the number 2 guy for this team. Like, we might be looking elsewhere for a backup quarterback. Mannion didn't look bad, but didn't look great at all. But I still don't feel great about it. The fact that he was able to go 8 for 12 with 79 yards is still surprising to me. But I mean, you are going up against backups and stuff like that. And they did jump back and forth between Mannion and Mond. Mannion took most of the stuff through like the first and second quarter. Then Mond came in, and then they gave Mannion another drive in the fourth, and then put Mond back in. What was interesting for me was Kellen Mond. So first couple series that Mond went out, he looked lost, slow to react, not making great decisions. The guy doesn't plant his feet when he throws. He's got a very powerful arm, but he's not getting the power out of it because he doesn't plant his feet. But he ended up getting into more of a rhythm and stuff like that. He wasn't really given an opportunity to even have much of a training camp, let alone any playing time last year under the Zimmer regime, because I don't think Zimmer was ever too keen on him.
Yeah.
So this is almost like his rookie year. He looks like a rookie to me that is learning how to play in the NFL still, which gives me a little bit of pause, saying, hey, maybe he can develop into like a backup or something like that, especially the way that he played towards the end of the game. I mean, he absolutely showed that he had more upside than Mannion. He ended up going 9 for 14, 119 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I'm happy with what I saw. The thing is that training camp practices, he has looked bad. Still this week after that performance, he's not looking good. Mannion is looking better than him in training camp. So it'll be really interesting to see how we go forward with this, because traditionally KOC with, the Rams and stuff, they only carried 2 quarterbacks. I don't know what they're going to do going into this year, if they're going to try to shelve one of the 2 of them, or if they're going to keep 3 guys on the roster. We'll see. So that's definitely something that I'm looking forward to here against the 49ers. Kirk Cousins probably will play a little bit. KOC still is not committed to him playing at all, but I expect that he'll probably get at least a drive here in this game. And then it'll be the Mond and Mannion show from there on out. What was really exciting to me was our running back room. It looks like we've got depth at skill positions, running back and wide receiver. I'm excited by that, because like I brought up, Madison, I love the guy, but this is the last year of his deal, and we are not going to re-sign him next year. We don't need to, because we have 2 guys in wait. Rookie from last year, Wang Woo, who fantastic kick returner, lights out speed, and he's shown some development where he's got good balance, and he actually ran 7 times for 41 yards in this game. Looked real good going up against the backups and everything like that. And then also we got a rookie in Ty Chandler this year, Tar Heel, 5 carries, 50 yards. He looked real good. I really liked what I saw out of him. So both those guys backing up Dalvin. If Dalvin goes down, which we've seen some injury issues and stuff like that, I think between the 2 of those guys, you actually have a pretty good looking running back room still beyond Madison. Now, Madison, honestly, I think we will retain him this year. I think we're going to go with 4 running backs and a fullback and CJ Ham. But if a team is coming snooping around, if the Bills want a Madison for a 5th round pick, I'm listening. Yeah, because we can take that. Madison is not going to get a ton of playing time unless Cook goes down, which Cook has apparently looked electric in training camp. People are saying it's his best looking camp this year. They're saying he looks faster than normal, which I don't get, because he's already been fast. Maybe it's because he's putting on the old number 4 again instead of 33. Yeah, but if Cook goes down, I think that we can still get by with just Chandler and Wang Woo and be perfectly fine, because this is going to be a much more pass-heavy offense. And pass-heavy offense it was. I mean, you saw the quarterback stats that I just read out. We saw a lot of those depth guys performing really well. Myron Mitchell looking good, 2 catches, 37 yards. Amir Smith-Marset looked good in the punt return game. Kind of good, but definitely better in the kick return game. 3 catches, 31 yards. Tristan Jackson, a guy who I didn't think was going to make the roster, and I honestly still don't think that he's going to. 2 catches, 26 yards, and some of these catches were not like just easy catches. They he made some diving catches and stuff. Looked pretty good. We're seeing some of these guys depth-wise that are number 4, 5, 6 guys. I think we'll end up keeping 6 receivers this year. And I think that, 1 through 3 is set. Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, KJ Osborne. The fourth guy is probably Amir Smith-Marset. And then after that, 5 and 6, Myron Mitchell. And do we keep Jalen Naylor, the rookie that we drafted late in the 6th round?
So you're talking about
Maybe.
keeping 6 receivers and 4 backs. That means you're going to have to subtract from the offensive line where you guys already struggle, or we're not going to see the tight ends used like we have come to know for the Vikings.
It's that new offense. So we'll see. And that's why I think that one of those receiver spots could end up meaning that we're only going to carry 2 quarterbacks into the year. I think that's where we make up one of those spots possibly. I don't know. It's interesting for teams that are wide receiver needy. If I were them, I'd be paying attention to what we have going on, because these receivers, even Albert Wilson, who I did not expect to make the roster, he scored our 2 touchdowns. You know, he had, 2 catches, 22 yards, 2 touchdowns. I don't expect him to make the roster at all. Between him and maybe a Tristan Jackson or something like that, I think that you guys, not necessarily you guys, but someone like a Cowboys or someone that needs a receiver, even if it is more depth guy, a 4th or a 5th guy, could actually get one of these guys off of our practice squad, because I think they will try to put some of these guys in the practice squad. I'm really happy with that depth. And then when it comes to defense, the defensive depth isn't fantastic, but I do like what we're seeing out of some of those starters.
Well, you got 3-1 techniques. You were trying to play 3 technique.
So we do have, we kind of only, yes and no.
Yeah. Like you got some guys on the defensive line, big bodies who are slightly playing out of position. They're not a traditional 3 technique. Did you guys keep Richardson around or no?
Nope. He's still a free agent right now. And if we were looking for someone else to be a 3 tech, I think that he'll be a guy that could be looked at. But as of right now, like Harrison Phillips, we've got him. He was a rotational guy for the Bills, brought him in to be our nose tackle this year. And he was lights out during that game. Like, looked phenomenal. Super happy to have Harrison Phillips in there. The backup to him right now is TJ Smith, and then Ty McGill behind that. And I think Ty McGill actually might end up edging out TJ Smith. But realistically, it should be Dalvin Tomlinson, who's our starting left defensive end, playing that 3 tech spot. And Armon Watts has looked all right. It's still a spot that I think that we could upgrade. He's our starting right defensive end. He's been with the team for a couple of years and been a rotational edge guy. But as long as Harrison Phillips doesn't get hurt, then I'm not too worried about it. Dalvin Thompson, Harrison Phillips, and Armon Watts as our 3 hand in the ground.
Do they have Daniil lining up as Daniil? Daniil's back, right? Are they lining him up at linebacker right now?
They are. Him and Zadarius Smith are our edge guys.
So
and
I'll be interested to see Daniil in a 2-point working in some. I doubt he's going to have to drop too many times.
Right.
But it'll be very interesting to see him in that stand-up role.
It will be, and I think that was a concern of a lot of people, but Daniil has come out and he said, hey, I played college stand-up. My first sack in the NFL was stand-up. He's like, I've done a lot more standing up than with my hand in the dirt than people recognize. So I'm not super worried about it. I think that front 5, basically, from Dalvin Thompson, Harrison Phillips, Armon Watts, Daniil Hunter, and Zadarius Smith.
Zadarius, yeah.
It's going to kind of be nasty.
It could be. Bringing 5 guys every time, though. I worry about Daniil dropping back. I mean, I know he says he's done it, but he has not done it in quite some time. And then Zadarius has never been good.
So we're probably going to be running a lot of 2-down lineman nickel, because nickel, even though it's a sub package, it is more than a sub package.
It's
in the
basically
NFL.
The fucking,
and that's going to be your Dalvin Tomlinson and Harrison Phillips are going to be your 2 guys out there. Armon Watts is the weakest of that group. He's not going to be out there as much, and that's when you're going to see Daniil coming down more as that in the dirt lineman edge type of guy, with Zadarius being a little bit more of the edge linebacker / rusher. They've been doing a lot of that. So I was very happy with how that first group looks. They've looked pretty nasty in camp. And like I said, we had those joint practices with the 49ers this week. And it's been a little bit back and forth as far as how we've done defending against their quarterback out there. Because that guy's got a cannon, but he also has looked a little bit, lost at times. That's been kind of the reports that I've been seeing from this week, is that he'll have one day where he is kind of throwing those deep balls and they're tough to defend, and then some other days where it's like he's having difficulty making quick reads and decisions, and that's causing him to end up getting picked off and stuff like that, because we've had a couple interceptions. I do think that we might see a pick or two this week. And then one last thing for my Vikings that I'm happy to say is our offense is pretty goddamn solid, minus our offensive line, specifically the interior offensive line. Center is still a question with Garrett Bradbury, though Austin Schlottman looked serviceable against the Twos last week, which, it's a name that I didn't know, got brought over from the Rams. He's looked all right. So we'll see what happens there. But more so, our right guard spot, a guy that we talked about, second round pick, Ed Ingram from LSU, talked about him after the draft and how he had some of those issues in his past that he never got charged with anything. Either way, speaking only from
purely on football,
a football level, he was the third highest ranked offensive lineman in all of week one preseason. He looked outstanding. He had phenomenal grades from PFF, good in rush, good in pass. So the talk around town is that, hey, we finally have a fucking right guard.
A right guard that can lock that spot down.
Yes. So
and fucking babysit Bradbury.
Yes. If we are down to one offensive line spot not being great, and maybe Schlottman comes in and is average to below average, that's still better than what we've been working with, and I'm happy with that.
And
if
we still got
that,
JC out there somewhere. If we still got JC, and we still have JC out there, but I'm not sure he's going to get signed because he's the NFLPA president, and that brings a lot of unwanted drama to a locker room. So which sucks, because JC's still he's one of the top 5 centers in the NFL last year, and he doesn't have a job.
Yeah. Either way, I'm getting more and more excited for the Vikings as we go along.
We're going in opposite motherfucking directions, because this is.
Look, the NFC is weaker of the two divisions there, or two conferences, and so we have an easier path, even just at a wild card. But I mean, a lot of the pundits are coming out. Even Greg Jennings, former Packers wide receiver, said he thinks that the Vikings are winning the North this year. I mean, Aaron Rodgers has come out publicly criticizing his receivers for dropping balls.
Okay, so I was going to ask you about this. I know you hate Aaron. Don't you want your veteran guy getting on your rookies, telling them, listen, this is how we fucking operate in the NFL? Like, we're not playing with fucking the kids' rules anymore. This is no gloves. This is the fucking big boy league. This is the fucking man's league, and you need to step your shit up. I know you don't like Aaron, but I feel like you got to respect a veteran quarterback going out and telling his guys, you got to step your fucking game up.
It has been the low-hanging fruit talk in the NFC North this week, talking about how Aaron has called out his receivers and is talking shit. Now he's missing Devontae and all that. Look, extreme ownership is what I'm about. He's going to call, a spade. And I don't think the Packers receivers are that good. I've been saying it. So if he's going to say it, I'm not going to disagree with him. He's calling them out. And he's done this in years past. He did it last year.
Yeah.
He wasn't talking about Devontae. He was talking about everyone else on that team. And that's why he wanted to get Randall Cobb back in there. He's going to call it as it is, and I don't think he's wrong.
I don't think he's wrong either, and I think he's right to do it, because this is the man's league. You got to fucking play big boy rules, and it's time to step your games up. I was curious how you were gonna take that, because I know you're a big time Packer Aaron hater, but
absolutely,
you gotta respect the man saying, listen, this is how the fuck we run things. I am the sheriff in town, and if I tell you to fucking do it some way, that's the way you're gonna do it.
And I don't disagree with him saying it. I don't think that he's wrong. I don't know that it will make a difference because it's not.
Don't either.
It's at the end of the day, you are not replacing the production of Devontae Adams. You put 5 other receivers out there. You're not replacing the production of one guy.
You're not playing fucking money ball in the NFL with Devontae Adams, where you're going to recreate him in the aggregate with 3 other fucking guys. It's just not going to happen.
Absolutely. So that's why I don't care how much he bitches at these guys. I don't think it's going to make. Even if it does light a fire under their ass, they are still not replacing that production. That offense will still not be as good as it has been in years past. And that's why the Packers have been their offense. Reports are that their defense is looking better, but it ain't gonna matter if the.
But does their defense look better because their fucking receivers can't get open?
Maybe.
I'm not. I like Aaron. I love Aaron. I think he's one of the best of all time. I am worried that this Packers team is going to fold.
Look, my perfect ending to the regular season is Vikings having a 2, maybe 3 game lead in NFC North and taking the division, and having the Lions and the Packers fight it out for that second spot and possibly a wild card.
And then Motor City Dan Campbell comes in and fucking rallies that team to a playoff spot.
Yep.
Because I'm fucking all in on Dan Campbell, dude.
Did you watch the most recent episode of Hard Knocks?
I have not got to watch it yet, but I am all in on based on episode 1. I doubt anything has changed.
I did watch it, and I posted the little snippet clip from Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I know that you like him, and I like him, and I like him even more after this. They actually go into his dad being I believe Mr. Olympia and stuff like that, a natty Mr. Olympia, and how he is the personal physical fitness weight trainer for his sons, and how he runs it very disciplined in the weight room with them. And they talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown having that chip on his shoulder, and he very openly speaks about how he's pissed every single
guy and their college.
Yes. And what pick they were taken at by which team. He has that locked in his head. That's the type of fire passion that you like to see from a guy. Even when he has a year like last year, he's like not good enough.
Yeah. Especially playing for a guy like Dan Campbell, that energy feeds the other. They both feed into each other fantastically. I think the Lions could compete for a playoff spot.
And I'll say this too, that I didn't watch their game. I was actually at the bar the other night, and they were playing a replay of the game, and I didn't really get to see too much of Aiden Hutchinson while I was sitting there.
All reports are that this kid is a fucking absolute animal.
But they highlighted him in the couple drives that he played, especially the first drive that he played in Hard Knocks, and it looks like the rest of the defense around him is meh. Yeah. But his presence was known. He was absolutely an impact. He was getting TFLs. He's definitely an upgrade for them. I'm not looking forward to having to go up against him twice a year. But like I was saying during the draft process, I think that he has the potential to be the next JJ Watt. Actually, I'm kind of.
I was just about to say,
I think that he's a little bit more TJ Watt.
So I don't know if he has the same juice that TJ has. He does remind me of a more slender JJ. That same mentality. Just I really like this kid. It's going to be really hard for me to not pick him as defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, or like a Nick Bosa for me. Like he looked a lot like a Nick Bosa.
Like he kind of that middle frame, not big like JJ, not slender like TJ. He's going to be able to do a lot of really good fucking things.
And as
long as he's not getting doubled and chipped on 90%, because he's going to command some doubles. It will be interesting to see how often teams double him, if they can kind of lock him down on that offensive line, because there's not a lot else that they have to worry about. They may just okay, we just got to fucking block him up, and everybody else they're still the Lions. They're better, but they're still the Lions. But Aiden Hutchinson is going to be a dude. It's going to be really hard to not take him. I don't know if his numbers will be as good as some of the other guys, but he's got it.
Mm-hmm. And as far as I'm concerned, Hard Knocks, they can continue to do their little sideways focus on his sisters. Just putting that out there.
Yes. All right. There we go. All right.
All right.
We got anything else on the NFL before we hop off? I don't want to preview preseason games. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like we talked about ours. Like any other storylines that we saw? Obviously, we had the Deshaun news. We wanted to talk about your Vikings. We talked about Tom. I don't think there's much else there. We talked about fucking Aaron ripping his guys. I think we hammered the NFL.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's going to be more little storylines here and there. You'll probably see us posting up whatever's relevant on the socials, and then we'll hit the more hard-hitting stuff when we get to our little weekend shows here.
Yeah. All right. So we are going to be done with the NFL. Real quick hit. We're going to talk about the NCAA real quick. A couple storylines. A guy that we talked about a ton at the start of college football season last year was Quinn Ewers. And from what I was seeing, that Quinn did not look great during spring practices. He did find a way to win that job out there for the Texas Longhorns, though. He is going to be the starting quarterback, but I think that's going to be very short-lived. I think it's entirely possible that we will see Quinn Ewers transfer again, unless for some ungodly reason that the next Manning decides to redshirt, which I don't see happening. There's no point to doing it. He chose Texas. Texas chose him. He is going to be the biggest attraction in all of college football as soon as he steps on the field. So Quinn's going to get 1 year to kind of show what he can do at Texas. There are some talks about, getting rid of the having to sit out a season. If you transfer multiple times, that would be good for Quinn, because I don't think that Quinn Ewers can win that job 2 years in a row, especially when Manning gets there. So good on Quinn to get the job. He's going to have to ball out this year, though. The Texas team, who is not ranked in the AP poll, going to have to really step up, show some dramatic improvement in that program. But he's a placeholder right now for a guy that we thought was going to be an absolute stud, especially because he, skips his senior season. He's getting enrolled early at Ohio State, one of the top programs in the country. And now he has fallen back to a not top 25 team that nobody's fucking talking about, and was barely able to win that job. So hopefully we see Quinn kind of start to ascend. I just don't think he's long for Texas.
Yeah, probably not. Even when Arch ends up showing up there next year, I don't think you can afford to really just let him sit. And I don't expect him to redshirt. So yeah,
Quinn's gonna have to play himself into a Heisman type year if he's going to force Manning to sit a year.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't see that happening. I mean, maybe Quinn is that guy, but he transferred out of Ohio State because he was not going to get a chance there. Barely won the job, so that's not great. But sticking in the NCAA, this is very, very early. But I sent Evo little screenshot. There are conversations happening with the College Football Playoff Committee about kind of getting the NCAA out of Division I football, moving away from them as the governing body and allowing the College Football Playoff to be the governing body. Obviously, this is a long ways out from happening. The NCAA is never going to want to cede any kind of ownership and potential money-making opportunities for college football, because that is their biggest moneymaker outside of the NCAA basketball tournament. But I'm very excited about the possibility of getting rid of the NCAA. We have talked about how they are a leech on most of these programs. So I hope things continue to progress, but I'm not confident that the old whites are going to give up college football without a massive fucking fight.
Yeah, it's something that we've talked about wanting to see. Like I said earlier when we were talking before the show. Penis. Excuse me. I don't know that it's going to happen.
I don't either.
I want
it to.
Right now, it's wishful thinking. It's like, hey, what do you want for Christmas? This is what I want, but we're asking a little out of our price range this year. But who knows? If it happens, we will absolutely be talking about it because that would be exciting.
Yeah, it would be fucking awesome. But we're not going to spend too much time on that because that is right now it is a pipe dream, but hopefully one that comes to fruition. All right, so we're going to move on to our last thing for the day. If you guys got nothing going on this weekend, I would recommend that you pay because we always pay for UFC. UFC 278 is going on. We got Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards. Second time they fought, Leon probably gave Kamaru Usman the best fight that he's had in quite some time. I don't know that he's going to be able to do enough. I mean, Usman is an absolute stud. Now, there's some interesting names on this card. It's not a big card. It's not a massive card like some of the ones we've had in the past. But Paulo Costa is getting back into an octagon after some really interesting things that have happened with his career, missing weight, saying he was drunk when he was going into the Israel Adesanya fight. So he's going to be back on this card, and he's going to get another opportunity to go out, kind of prove that he's still a guy, because he's going against somebody who I love watching because he's incredibly exciting. And I watched him wrestle a fucking bull to the ground in Luke Rockhold. So I'm excited for that fight. And then we also got Jose Aldo on this card. Going against a guy I do not know, and I have no idea how to say this. Merab Devishvili.
Davalishvili.
I don't know how to say his name. But, Jose is a guy that has been around, done it for a long time.
35 years old.
Multiple championship defenses. Like, he's a guy. So those top three fights will be fun to see. The other fights I'm not too concerned with, but if you got nothing going on tomorrow, you want to tune in and check out,
that Usman fight at least should be entertaining. Usman is such a monster. That's really the one that I would be tuning in for personally. I really like Kamaru Usman, and that's going to be a fun fight.
Yeah, I think so too. Leon gave him his best fight, so that's the one to really tune into. I like the storylines about what's going on with Paulo Costa. Is he going to fucking make weight? Did he make weight? I have not checked to see if he fucking made weight because he's had some problems with that in the past. So, but always, guys, pay for the UFC because it's really important. Dana White they've just pummeled all those people who don't pay for it. They've beaten them down. They will not steal UFC fights anymore. And I don't know how you could ever even think to do that on Cody or any other, app that allows you to watch the UFC fights for free.
Absolutely. And keep your wives or significant others away from the TV when Paulo Costa's out there because
he's one good looking fucking guy.
He seems to get the ladies going.
Gets the people going. But I think that was about it, man. I didn't have anything else scheduled for us to talk about. Did you have any other storylines that we wanted to hit before we got out of here?
No, that's pretty much it, man. I'm still just getting amped for this football season. I am enjoying preseason football and looking forward to getting to tick down the weeks until we get into the regular season, man.
All right, I am sending a message. NFL season is fast approaching. I think we're 19 days away from NFL kickoff, and I could not be more excited. The only thing that would make me happier is if Ohio's like, you know what? Fuck January 1st. We're moving up betting to as soon as the NFL season opens. It's not going to happen. But I'm very excited. I'm pumped for the storylines to grow. Figure out who's going to make these teams. There's going to be some interesting cut downs that happen. Guys changing teams very late in the preseason. Now we always see these new guys, the younger guys, change teams, but there's going to be some veteran cap casualties that will go and try to catch on with probably a veteran team that can go out and possibly win a Super Bowl. We're talking Rams, Bucks, Bills, Chiefs, so I cannot wait for the fucking NFL season to finally start.
And we're going to be seeing those cut downs here pretty quick. We've already had cut downs from 90 to 85. I believe the next one is sometime next week down to 75.
Yeah, so we're going to start seeing a lot of guys out on the street looking for jobs, and these preseason games are their audition for everybody else. So we'll start seeing a lot of movement here in the next week.
Yep, absolutely. All right, man. I know you got shit to go do.
I go pick up the girls because daycare closes at 5:30, and Amber won't quite be off work by then. So I'm gonna go do that, and I just want to say thank you to everybody out there watching. If you tuned in, commented, also special shout out to Jared Bates from Illegal Ham to the Face for joining us. If you guys want to listen to the show afterward, you can go anywhere podcasts are found and just search Lineman Lounge. We should be the first thing to pop up. So we appreciate you guys listening, downloading the podcast, rate us. Even if you fucking want to tell us that we are dog shit. I mean, I don't care. I'll argue with you all day. I got no problem with that. Finally had another little Twitter spat. It's been a while since I've, kind of dunked on somebody on Twitter. So that's always fun. But interacting on the socials, you can go to the Twitter. You can fight with us on Twitter. I'm the guy that runs the Twitter, so you're going to be dealing with me, just a belligerent asshole who would, so be aware that that's what's coming back at you if you want to say anything crazy. Also we got the Facebook group, tons of memes dropping in there, a lot of good interactions. So actually I just did another TikTok not too long ago. I was making some breakfast, little breakfast with the lounge. You don't become the thickest podcast in sports without having a delicious motherfucking breakfast.
Oh yeah.
So thank you guys very much. I got shit I gotta go do. Evo, enjoy the weekend, man, and I'll talk to you soon. We'll figure out when our next show is, and we'll post that on social so everybody knows next time we'll be live.
Sounds good. See y'all next week.
All right. See you.
Welcome to the Lineman Lounge, hosted by Mike and Evo, calling their shots and being outlandish.
Breaking news from the Lineman Lounge. My fantasy football team just took a huge fucking hit. And that also makes it even more likely that the Raiders are going to beat the Ravens on Monday night. Le'Veon Bell is about to be your starter. Latavius Murray is going to go there as well. Jesus, fuck my ass.
Get ready for the thickest podcast in the game. Coming to you from Hangar 6, where sleeves are optional.